Content warning. This episode contains sexually explicit language and discussions of sexual abuse, including minors. Listener discretion is advised. Her experiences in Northern California sex cult set this entrepreneur up to run one of her own. She claimed her company's goal was simple: to foster connection between individuals through the practice of orgasmic meditation. But those who joined called it a prostitution ring, complete with coercive control, financial manipulation, and sexual abuse, all packaged in shiny Silicon Valley wellness culture. This week's episode is The One Taste Sex Cult, Part 1. Sinisterhood. Well.
Oh, man.
We have to reclaim the word stroking for mini golf. That's what it's for. And cats, to pet cats like Dr. Evil would.
Yes.
I can't say it again in this way.
This is, I'm gonna do my best. But I told Heather earlier, I'm not a prude, but there's something about reading or saying like sexually explicit, or rather acts described very explicitly, that just give me the ick. It makes my skin crawl. And I probably because I'm talking about stroking, and now everyone hears my voice and they're like, stroking. And then they think of my face and stroking. I'm not saying you have to stroke yourself to my face. In fact, please don't.
But if you do.
But I mean, also if you do, I feel like that's flattering on some level. But there is a lot of talks about stroking and just weird ways to describe finger banging that somehow for me is worse than saying finger banging.
It's so much worse. Like what is that, Clarence Carter? I'll be stroking.
Like,
I just keep thinking that. I told a friend of mine we were doing this cult, and he goes, if you're joining a cult, go all the way.
Yeah.
You're stopping at fingering? That's what I said.
Well, yeah.
Not in all cases. But this woman says, you're right. It's something about the description of it. And it's like she is titillated, and I hate to say that word, by using explicit language. You could tell she likes it. She says pussy more than Cardi B. And let me just say, if Cardi B had a cult, I would join that. This woman, I can't stand her voice. If Cardi B was telling me all this stuff where she's like, you just got to open up your pussy, I'd be like, I might believe that. But
I would believe that.
Listening to Nicole Daedon's audiobook, I wanted to reach through and punch her because like just the tone is such that smarmy, I know better than you, Silicon Valley, like this is the way to your play. I'm like, bitch, I know you're speaking in a fake way to trick me. I know you're talking fake. That's why I like Cardi B. She talks real. She's on the stand like, meanwhile,
my favorite memes and reactions are her on the stand.
Fuck, iconic. But she's like, but Nicole Daedon, it's a facade. That's how you can tell. It's like this fake facade thing. And part of that facade is like, I think she gets power and enjoyment out of using these filthy words. So to all of our nice listeners, as we quote Miss Nicole Daedon, it's her, it's not us. We are filthy, but not like this.
Yeah. And also, I know a lot of you listen with your kids, and this is probably one that you don't want to, unless you want to answer a bunch of questions.
Yes. And this is, there's a lot of phrases and words in this that are like, God damn it.
Honestly,
you people.
They're different people in what they do, but it's giving Bonnie Blue in the way of just that kind of shock jock language and trying to get a reaction and just saying stuff that like doesn't have to be described as filthy and gross as you're describing it. Like you don't have to say fluids.
Yes. For those of you who are unaware, Bonnie Blue is an adult content creator who was on OnlyFans for a while. And her content is largely, she engages in sexual relations with college age, mostly boys that are willing to
newly
sign.
18.
Yes, she likes to say she likes fresh fluid. So it is predatory. I'm sorry. But yes, that's what she says. But I hear you that it's 100%. Nicole Daedon she feels empowered by setting someone off their heels and saying that, almost like challenge me. And Bonnie Blue's the same way. She wants to say these filthy things and is like, challenge me. If you aren't completely, totally fine with all of this, then it gives this inverse. Then you must be a prude. You must be closed off. You must have blockages. And I'm like, listen, man, I can fuck just as good as the next one, but doesn't mean I got to go spread my shit all over the streets. You know what I mean?
No.
Some things are more beautiful, perhaps when you don't have someone staring 6 inches away from it.
Yeah, unless it's an OBGYN. I don't really want that. I don't want a
Scrutinizing
audience watching what, and even then, it's like you and one other nurse when you're at the OB,
exactly.
you know? Unless you're in like a surgery style situation where there's a class watching from above, looking down.
And then someone drops a junior mint in your pussy opening.
Right in
like,
there.
No!
Honestly, I welcome that. I love junior mints. They're minty. They taste good.
Fresh.
They're great.
Fresh.
It's a great candy.
This group, I wouldn't put it past them to say, we have a new practice called JMing, and it's where you put a junior mint in the opening of your vulva. So that, you know what I mean? It's just all this shit would they just put a fancy name on it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Nancy McKinney would have solved. Says who? Like, I think you need to lay back. Says who? Who made this up? You?
Yeah. No. Well, I got some theories, and unfortunately, they're rooted in
rough
a dark,
stuff.
Sinister beginning. Like so many cult leaders that we cover are because most people don't just grow up and decide one day, you know what? think I'm going to lead a cult. There's things that shape them from early childhood on that get them to that point.
No, absolutely. We've got the whole sordid history of old Nicole Daedone and the One Taste cult. Also, gross name. I hate it.
I hate it
so much. Couldn't hate it more.
Couldn't hate it more if I was paid to. But it's a topical subject. There's a documentary out right now about it. And even just like in interviewing other people we have recently, this cult has come up because it's always shocking when I can't say that anymore. I was going to say in today's world.
What is today's world?
Everything goes. So I was going to say, we know so much more about cults. It's weird when new ones crop up, but it's really not, because the underlying reason why people join these, loneliness, wanting a place to belong, you're horny and you're young, whatever it might be, those things all still exist.
Yeah. Or you have a leader who has really good ears and can listen to whatever you have going on and can lie directly to your face to say that, like, just let me get these gloves on and I'll fix all your problems. So that's, I think you're right, though, that this is, the landscape is ripe for charlatans like Nicole Daedone to take advantage of the disaffected masses.
Honestly, that's a really good point. And I hope we don't see more things like this crop up, because everything is so fractured.
For real. Twin Flames, Teal Swan, Bettino Massaro, Linda Good McGill. You know, it's like I think Nicole falls into this category.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Christy.
I'm Heather.
And let's get into it. Decades before Nicole Daedone began her multi-million-dollar orgasmic meditation company, One Taste, a man named Victor Barranco had already been demonstrating what he called
deliberate orgasm
in front of an audience in Northern California. In 1968, Barranco founded a commune known as Lafayette Morehouse near Oakland. Its stated goal was
to live pleasurably among friends.
The group rejected monogamy and traditional family structures in favor of shared domestic life and what Barranco, its founder, called
responsible hedonism. And along the lines of Says Who, Victor Barranco was an appliance salesman and was just really good at selling stuff.
Who knows more about the lady parts than an appliance salesman?
He's like, let me get you into this new Maytag. And by that, I mean, sit on top of it with your pants off. It's great. Like,
he knows how to fix problems. He's a fixer.
He said
Get up in there.
He and his wife were having sexual trouble in their sex life, and that he went to a self-proclaimed witch when they were in their 30s.
Same.
And that's, I
mean, I am one, not that I've gone to one for my problems.
Well, if maybe you could teach people like, oh, this one taught Victor Barranco what this deliberate orgasm was. So
I'm not going to do that, Heather, but I will listen to your problems and try to help you out in other ways.
But I can't get over this like sales guy who's like, let me show you something.
The community described itself as
the elite connoisseurs of exquisite gourmet sex.
To illustrate his theory, in 1971, Bronco staged a multi-hour public demonstration of a, quote, deliberate orgasm, in which he narrated what he was doing as he pleasured a woman before an audience. His philosophy was taught starting in 1977 at the loosely structured Moore University, an unaccredited school offering courses like basic sensuality and basic hexing.
I'm trying to take that class.
Okay,
for sure.
I'll go back to school. I'll go back to college for basic hexing.
But yeah, apparently the 60s is kind of like around the time of Synanon, Northern California. Everybody's looking for exactly what we talked about, the disaffected masses. You got the Vietnam War going on, the summer of love. Like, what are we even doing anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go move into this house with, 15 other people or 20 other people. So they eventually
What
had
could go wrong?
Yeah, like 100 electric purple houses across the country. They would do these like boxing matches in front of their house so that they would wear these long purple robes, which further made people think they were a cult. But the guy running it, as always, he was drinking constantly. He was drinking rum and Coke or rum and decaf ground coffee. Like, what the fuck? With creamer and sweetener.
That's a crime against humanity.
Nasty,
with
dude.
Cream and sweetener?
Yeah,
Shut up.
nasty dog. It's
Rum,
one of the nastier
coffee,
things he did.
cream, sweetener?
It's nasty, dude.
That needs to be put on one of those shirts that's like
like gym tan laundry, rum, coffee, cream, sweetener. Well, I run on orgasms run, but that's the kind of shit they would do is like make shirts and stuff. Or he would make the women wear French maid outfits with no panties on. He would do like, I have an in list and an out list, and these are the people that are in with me, and these are the out. It makes me think of the Synanon guy, just kind of like.
Much.
It's his whims. And he also used the word hustle. He would be like, we're going to hustle some people. We got to have another meeting in public so we can get some more marks, and we're going to hustle these marks. But it's for their own good. Like, we're hustling them to like make their lives better. And you're like, okay, well, I think it's just because you want to drink more of that Coke and coffee, rum and coffee.
Vomit. But it's so sad that people join groups like this for inclusivity and belonging. And even within these groups, and always within these groups, there's still a hierarchy and still like an inner circle and an outer circle. And if you want to get to the inner circle and really be accepted, guess what you got to do? So even once you think you've found a community, there's still all this fractured office politics, if you will, within it.
You think, I'm going to leave the structure of the world behind. And it's like you're going into a microcosmic structure of that. And is it any better? Not oftentimes, no. Sinisterhood will be right back.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack, hydration, and coffee sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day.
If you want to try everything IQ Bar makes, and let me tell you, you do, the ultimate sampler pack is the way to go. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All their products are gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, and made without GMOs or artificial sweeteners. The bars are packed with clean plant protein, fiber, and brain-boosting ingredients like magnesium, lion's mane, and adaptogens. IQ Mix helps with hydration and focus, some of my favorite stuff to drink. I like it better than water, while IQ Joe delivers smooth, jitter-free energy with 200 milligrams of natural caffeine in flavors that taste better than any drip coffee. It's something I've been working on for a 2026 goal for myself is to increase my mileage, and a better way to do that is to stay hydrated.
With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their busy lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. Their ultimate sampler pack includes all 3. I had a sea salt caramel chocolate IQ bar just yesterday, and it was so good. Nothing about it tasted like a protein bar normally does. I was like, I could eat 15 more of these.
Absolutely. I love those before my workouts. I drink the IQ mixes during my workouts. When especially on a long run, I'll mix up the raspberry lemonade, the mango passion fruit, and put it in my little water bottle while I'm going, so that I'm not just trying to drink regular water. I'm replenishing what I'm losing as I am sweating, as I'm trying to increase my mileage this year. And I can't do it without IQ Bar. So thank you. And right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text CREEPY to 64,000. Text CREEPY to 64,000. That's CREEPY to $64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. Sinisterhood will be right back.
Nicole Daedone was born in 1967 in Los Gatos, California, during the popularity of experimental living in Northern California. She was raised by a single mother who worked as a real estate agent and moved to California from Michigan. Daedone's Ukrainian grandmother helped as well. Much of Daedone's early biography can only be pieced together by things she has said of herself in lectures and writings, much of which has been embellished for effect.
We do need to give a shout out to Ellen Hewitt, who wrote Empire of Orgasm, an incredible, very in-depth book that really tried to trace Nicole's background, Daedone's background, because it was so, like I said, she changes it, makes it up. One thing, though, that was documented that I think we need to point out is that as a small child, Nicole was obsessed with biting people on the back of their knees. She would grab adults.
Yeah.
She would sneak up on adults. And
I was processing that. That was my silence.
Yeah, she'd bite the flesh on the back of their knees to the point, like, apparently she bit her aunt on the back of the knee and got swatted, bit her dad on the back of the knee. She had a fixation on the fleshy meat behind knees.
Well, I have
she
I have a
yearned for the
theory
knee.
on that as well, which
The children
again
yearn for
is
the
very
knee.
sinister indeed.
It's dark.
But yeah, much like Linda McGillis, no one kind of knew where she came from, and it was all pieced together later. I mean, if you can't find in this day and age a person's kind of story, given the internet and everything that we have, they probably deleted it. There's probably a reason you can't find it.
Yeah, you need journalists like Ellen Hewitt who are like, I actually used the Internet Archive and found all your deleted shit. Thanks.
Daedone's father was of Sicilian heritage and had 7 other children with different women. He only visited on occasion, but Daedone yearned to have a connection with him. In 1976, when she was 9, her father was imprisoned for 52 counts of child molestation. In a now-deleted blog post from 2007, she detailed the ways his abuse began and what her father did to her as a child. She later changed her story and told mainstream media outlets like the New York Times that her father never abused her.
Which is strange because in the early days of her group, there was a focus on storytelling, reclaiming your own narrative. And as part of that, she was explicit and spoke a lot about her dad and his crimes and her experience with him, you know, the times he was home and when he wasn't and all that. And then to see a single line in the New York Times just say, Daedone says her father never touched her. Anyway, moving on. And it's like, for people that had joined were like, hang on, because I sat through like a 2-hour lecture where you were talking about this. But
yeah, it's interesting why you would drop that part of your story.
There's also an argument to be made from some other researchers that there's not really records that her dad was ever incarcerated. So the question becomes, was he ever really incarcerated? Was it really her dad? She also had a stepfather figure, but the other children of her father never mentioned that he was in jail, like on social media posts and things like that. It seemed more like they were all just, you know, that was just their dad. That's not to say he did not do those things and that was not a part of the history that he's trying to hide. But again, one would think there'd be some more primary source documentation.
52
a news article. Yeah.
There would have been a trial.
Potentially.
You would have been charged, sentenced. So yeah, potentially a trial. So it seems like you would be able to dig more information up about that. Alternatively, if that was part of your story and it was true, maybe you drop it because it's not as sexy in this sex cult you're trying to form. Or maybe it wasn't true. I'm not saying it was or wasn't. And you make that part of your story, again, to kind of sell why people should join this, because it's a part of healing and taking back your own narrative and stuff, when she is not a reliable narrator. So it's hard to know what's true or false.
Yeah. And in her own book called Slow Sex, she says that she doesn't mention her dad at all, doesn't mention molestation at all. And she just has this really descriptive scene where she was at her uncle's farm and he came in with a tomato and is like, hey, eat this tomato. And I'm giving you the short version. And she eats the tomato and it's really good. And he's like, the most important thing in life is to taste a tomato. I feel like it's like, I don't know, being fulfilled as a person and providing for your family, but whatever, eating a tomato. And she kind of likens this like juicy tomato eating sensation as being, but again, it's always a veneer, a facade. She's clearly trying to mythologize herself.
Mhm.
And you're right. It's either you had a really shitty, sad childhood, which sounds bad that your dad was an absentee child molester potentially that abused you, or why that? Like, if it's not true, that's a weird myth to add.
Yeah. Well, that was kind of my theory with the biting on the back of the knees. And I mean, that could just be a weird kid doing weird stuff. My kids do weird shit all the time. It could also be, why are you exploring things like that? Like, you know, biting, getting that close. Like, biting is not always sexual. It could be. But I just think of children that young and I'm like, you either discovered this on your own or somebody taught this to you or it was done to you and you're doing it now to others.
Yeah, because why? That is a strange fixation.
Daedone and her father lost touch after his incarceration. In 1995, when Daedone was 27, she received a call that he was dying of cancer. She also learned he had been incarcerated again, this time for abusing 2 additional preteens, one of whom was his own granddaughter. She drove an hour and a half to the prison, where she held his hand, sobbed at his bedside, and forgave him on behalf of herself and all of his other victims. He died 2 days later. She later cited his crimes as a reason for her interest in sexual wellness. He had used sex as a means for harm, whereas Daedone wanted to reframe it as a healing practice.
Yeah, and she mentioned him a lot. Like I said, she called him, I believe the phrase was something. There are things that are poison, and all poison can be turned into medicine. But
That's
I don't
not
know.
true. Not to me, at least.
And I don't think that's science. I don't think the science is. But she says, like, my father was definitely the poison side of it. I saw the damage and destruction that can come from sexuality, but I knew that if there was that much damage and destruction, there can be that much healing. It had that much potential, or so I suspected. I set off to see if that were true. And now it's proving to be true in science, not just my mind. So again, it's like she keeps reiterating that he was a child molester.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she drives an hour and a half to sob at his bedside. And if you want to forgive him on your own behalf, okay, that's your choice. It doesn't sit right with me that she forgives him for all of his other victims. That is not your place. That's not, you don't get to decide that. If the other victims want, that's their story, not yours.
100%. I thought that was very overstepping, that she's like wanted to forgive him on behalf of herself and others. To the people that have sexually abused me, I hope they die screaming. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't like I don't want their kid to come and like hold their hand and be like, everything's okay. Yeah, I want him to look at the thing and rue the day they cross me. Like, what is this, woman?
I mean, a side tangent, but kind of related. Years and years ago, I don't even think I could get through this documentary today with children. I don't even remember what it was called, but it was on a list of like most disturbing documentaries ever made, which, you know, got my interest.
Yeah.
And it was about a man who sexually assaulted all of his daughters from a very, and I believe granddaughters, very young age into their adult lives. And there is a scene where they all go to visit him because he's not doing well at a nursing home or whatever. And one of them like can't go in the room and is just out in the hall. But another one of them is like hugging on him, kissing him on the lips. And I think when you've been that abused and brainwashed your whole life, it's completely fucked up the relationship that you have with your dad and the way you see him, but also this weird desire to still please them. Maybe I'm thinking about this a lot too, because I'm still reading Virginia Giuffre's book, and she makes a point of talking about that a lot. Like, even though she knew what Epstein and Maxwell were doing was heinous, there was still part of her that longed to please them. And if she wasn't like the number one favorite, it stung. But that's because she was a broken person who was abused from so very early on from her own family members. But that's kind of the same vibe I get from this.
Yeah, and that's a good point because she did have a fractured relationship with him, being one of 7 kids from multiple relationships. And he had, whole other families that he did spend time with and did see. And so if he is dying, you're thinking, this is my last chance to have that connection with him. And I'm going to say what he wants to hear, which is, all good.
But fuck him. Be like, no. I hope you burn in hell. That should be the last words he hears if he really did all of this stuff.
52 counts is egregious. She did. I mean, obviously, she had a inappropriate relationship with sex. The Ellen's book mentions, she realized early on her sexuality was powerful. She used it to manipulate people. Dadone talked about having her first sugar daddy by the age of 16. Having somebody that's willing to pay for stuff and becoming kind of party related, promiscuous, wanting to, in her opinion, take control of her sexuality. But I don't know that when you're 16, that's really what's happening. Or if you're just being repeatedly, setting yourself up to be abused.
Hard agree. I think she was groomed to think that she was in control, but she was. I mean, you can't even consent. You're a minor. Dadone spent her 20s doing odd jobs, exploring her sexuality with men and women, all while experimenting with methamphetamine and LSD. In 1994, she graduated from San Francisco State University with a bachelor's degree. After college, she worked several different jobs, from opening an art gallery to waiting tables at a pizzeria. She later acknowledged brief periods working as a stripper and an escort, telling the Sunday Times,
I wanted to know things I didn't understand.
She also studied yoga and Buddhist meditation with various teachers, moving between practices without affiliating with a single school or lineage. At one point, she considered becoming a nun. Before giving up her sexuality entirely, Dadone decided to go wild for a week as one last hurrah.
Yeah, she was already kind of going wild. They said she would just take the meth into a tissue. She would sprinkle it into a little piece of a tissue and then wrap it up and then put it on her tongue and then swallow it whole. Like, what the fuck?
That's one way to get it down.
And just doing, as a sex worker, doing this cold read practice where she would say, folks would use the term grok, which is from a science fiction book where they would say Nicole can grok people, which means to wholly know someone simply by looking at them, and you can just absorb and know everything. And she would say, yeah, I can cold read these guys and I know their deepest desires. And again, using sexuality to manipulate men to, in this case, give you money.
Yeah. And that's why it's hard for me to think her dad didn't do anything, because to be that young and already involved so sexually like that is not typical.
Yeah, and that fixated on utilizing sex as a currency.
Yeah.
Sinisterhood will be right back.
Edibles can often make you feel too high. Lumi gummies have a way of making you feel just right.
Consistent, mellow, and super delicious, Lumi gummies are specifically designed to make you feel good, not stoned. Whether you're looking for an end-of-day de-stressor, a midday mood boost, or help getting the best sleep ever, Lumi gummies has a strain that's right for you. I'll tell you, the strain that's right for me is the banana cream. That's my nature walking gummy. I like that. Put my weighted vest on, go into the woods, take a couple of those bad boys. Could see everything. I'm calm, but I'm also working out.
Yes, Tommy and I love the sleep one, raspberry flavor. Sometimes, you feel like groggy in the morning. You do not. You just feel like you got a good night's sleep. You ease into sleep very easily. They're all great tasting. I love the packaging. No downside to any Lumi gummy.
You can take a Lumi gummy when you edge. Lumi gummies are available nationwide. Go to lumigummies.com. That's LUMI gummies.com and use code CREEPY for 30% off your order. Again, that's LUMI gummies.com, code CREEPY. Lumigummies.com, code CREEPY.
Again, that's LUMI gummies.com, code CREEPY. Lumigummies.com, code CREEPY.
Sinisterhood will be right back.
Later that week, in a private setting, Devon demonstrated a clitoral stroking practice, something he believed could change her relationship to sensation. Dadone later framed the moment as an invitation to instruction rather than a sexual advance. However, in one retelling, she jokingly described it as
the best pickup line I'd ever heard. So you're at a party.
I don't like that.
And you're like, hey, I'm thinking of becoming like a Zen nun. By the way, these people are as offensive to me about my practice of Zen Buddhism as the wild, wild country people. But all that aside, she's telling this guy who later she's like, he was a Zen Buddhist monk. He was not. He was like, no, I just like lived in a place. It's again, she's mythologizing people. And some good looking guy comes up to you because he was younger, around her age, in his 20s, had a buzz haircut, like, kind of earthy looking guy, and is like, I can change your relationship. Like, you don't have to give up your sexuality to go on this journey. Immediately, I'm like, this guy's trying to stick his finger in me. Like, hang on a minute. Hang on.
I can't say I wouldn't have been like, okay.
Like interested.
Yeah.
It's just like, what do you mean? What are you going to do? But at first I was like, at the party. And again, sometimes she says later that night. Sometimes she says several days later. So it's this personal mythos that now we don't even know what the truth is, except we do know somebody did a little little diddling down there. And she made it all of our problem.
Yeah. And to even if you're joking, like the best pickup line I'd ever heard, there's some truth in that of her admitting this is all a bunch of crap and he's just trying to get laid.
Yeah. And like, and I wanted to get laid too.
Yeah.
But like, but it's like religion. Again, that's why it offends me. That's my Zen Buddhism. I'm like, this isn't yours to be.
Maybe
at
you're
no
not
point
doing your clitoral stroking correctly.
I'm not doing it right.
That?
Perhaps I'm not doing it right. Every day when I meditate with my pants on, I'm like, I could go further.
Hands down.
Hands on my knees, not anywhere else. And nobody's in the room with me, and no one's, you know what I mean? No one's got their rubber gloves on. So it's feels like I'm doing it right though, because that's how they talked about it like, 4,000 years ago. Like, I feel like this lady's making it up.
Could be. Devon stroked Dadone's clitoral area while examining her under a light and narrating what he observed. She recounted some of the words he used in her later book, Slow Sex.
Coral, rose, pearl pink.
Years later, in a TEDx talk, Dadone described the moment this way.
All of a sudden, the traffic jam that was my mind broke open. There was not a thought in sight. There was only sensation.
Dadone cried during the experience. She described it as an altered mental state rather than a sexual one.
You guys are all welcome, because she doesn't just say coral, rose, pearl, pink in the book. She uses like full phrases and attaches them to anatomical parts, and it's fucked up. And I wasn't finna write that or say it.
Thank you. Because I had to take a pause before I even said coral or red, coral, rose, pearl, pink, which are beautiful colors.
Yeah. But again, it's like she has figured out a way to frame it as this magical experience, which I'm sure it was nice, but she cried during it. Later on, when they're doing this in her practice, when people cried, she would yell at them and be like, you gotta stop crying. I'm like, bitch, you cried in the first one. You said it in your TED Talk.
And if this is really like a pathway to healing, that would be normal. I would think that people have a breakthrough. You cry when breakthroughs happen a lot of times.
Yep.
So she's just a hypocrite time and time again.
Yeah, it's like rules for thee, but not for me. And it is, again, like I think she's trying to add these esoteric religious things onto, like, she just wants to get her bean flicked. You know what I mean? Dude, she's trying to get that bean flicked.
Which, like, she went.
No shade, dog.
It was, but she
Don't
went
make
the
it my
most
problem.
hardest way about it. You know what I mean? Like, I've been in college. If you want to get your bean flicked, it's not hard. Okay,
you go on Craigslist today. Like, what are we doing?
No, you can just walk outside and probably yell, like, "Who wants to flick a bean?" And several people come running.
I spent a lot of time in parks. I think I could probably approach someone.
100%. I could go
to change your life?
Natural Grocers right now and be like,
not Natural Grocers.
Feel like Natural Grocers and Sprouts are where we're going to find this demographic.
You were like, hey, you have your hair in a ponytail. Come here, buddy.
Hey, you with the man bun.
Hey,
would you like to flick a bean for 15 minutes while everybody watches?
I noticed you already have rubber gloves on because you're working the deli counter.
Oh, cross-contamination.
The smoked turkey is a little strange. It's an earthy flavor. Something's gone
But
bad with
also
the
it's
Swiss
like-
cheese.
Have you, Nicole, did you eat a whole rotisserie chicken today? Because there's a waft coming from
He's
you
like-
that there's not normally.
It's rose. It's pearl pink. I want some mashed potatoes and roasted vegetables.
Craving a Thanksgiving feast all of a sudden.
Does anyone have pumpkin pie? God damn.
Oh,
You know what? We're
man.
making fun of this because we have blockages.
Yeah, I've got blockages. So
She's the genius, not me.
once we get through part 2 and
crying.
in the next episode when we have our 15-minute clitoral stroking session where we make all of you listen to all 15 minutes, no edits. Then our blockages will be cleared and we'll be as enlightened as she is.
Yeah.
After the 1998 encounter with Devon, Dedaun sought proximity to people living in the same Northern California sexuality circles as her demonstrator. Through these connections, she joined a small residential commune organized around deliberate orgasm practices called Welcomed Consensus. Its founder was R.J. Testerman, a former hairdresser and Vietnam veteran who had studied under Victor Barranco at Moore University before splitting from the group to branch out on his own.
They said R.J. Testerman was kind of a boisterous cowboy type who told it like it
by
was.
the name.
Yeah, he's like, I'm a hell of a guy. Hey, this is a new Dodge. I can see you in it right now driving on the highway at MSRP value. But they said he liked a harem of girls around him. And he, I think, butted heads a bit with Mr. Barranco. You can't have two leaders in a sex cult. You know what I mean? So-
you can't. You got to split the sex, so you got to branch out. We've seen this a million times, and usually the brancher becomes the worst one.
Yes, and then it's even worse. It's like they're leaning even further and further into the worst behavior, certainly.
Welcomed Consensus replicated much of the Lafayette Morehouse model: shared housing, sexual exploration as practice, and the belief that emotional growth could be achieved through structured intimacy. Dedaun lived in the group house and contributed regularly to the group's online forum, referred to by members as
The Clitboard,
where discussions centered on technique, sensation, and interpretation.
Yeah, because by now they've got the internet that they've started using to
The clipboard.
The clipboard. She's the mod of the clipboard. The clip mod.
Do we think? Oh, wait a minute! Like clipboard, but clit?
I think so.
How
like a
very
message board.
clever!
Yeah, they're all witty. They like Welcome to Consensus liked funny things like they called their deliberate orgasm situation, like demonstration, they called it an OIC, an observation of intense coming.
Oh,
I hate it. And they called it the eighth wonder of the world, and they sold T-shirts that said "Because life is too short for mediocre sex." So it's like that. They're starting to get, again, it's the branching off. So now it's like cheeky with it. Like Victor Barranco's like, a witch taught me this thing for me and my wife, and then but he also had people in French maid outfits and is drinking the rum and coffee situation. And now this guy's like, hell yeah! And they were a ranch. Testerman's Welcome Consensus was more of a ranch, whereas Morehouse was like houses in urban areas where people could walk by. So this kind of made you go off into the wilderness with these people.
Isolation.
But it did teach Nicole kind of how to run a sex cult. Like she figured out like, oh, you just have to promise people like, oh, when you come here, all your problems are fixed. Yeah. And that you just tell them anything you want.
You just tell them anything. And if sex is involved, I think that's a big draw for a lot of people.
She got really into it, was just spending, tens of thousands of dollars, like a 2-week long course that was $14,000. That's like how to better embody your orgasm. And the thing about it is like I feel like no one's actually doing any work, because at Welcome Consensus, they said they would stroke 5 times a day. This is like Keith Raniere this is Jeffrey Epstein numbers.
Yeah,
like at some point you're not like running, you're not answering calls.
No, because all you're doing is flicking the bean.
You're either bean flicking or fucking printing new T-shirts of like, let's think of something else.
Also, like, what is the refractory period for these people?
That's what I'm asking. Like, you just,
how many people, and no shade, and maybe, I don't know where my buzzer is. I was going to do a round of applause. But if everybody can just like orgasm 5 times a day, every day, that seems excessive. Exhausting.
Yeah, exhausting. And I'm like, here's the thing. There's no way that everybody want to do that much. I guarantee you.
And that they
we
were.
do, but we were.
People were faking left
True,
and right.
True. They're fucking Harry Met Sallying.
Yeah. Because also, I mean, it's easier for a woman to fake an orgasm or someone with a vagina than with a penis, because we all know how those things work. So if it would be easy for a woman or someone with the vagina to be like, oh yeah, but you're like, I came 0 times today.
Yeah. Like, they don't need to know that. But also, Testerman was a violent asshole. He hurt women when he conducted the deliberate orgasm sessions. If there was any pushback, this is when it's sexual abuse. So if the woman has pushback, then he vigorously and painfully does what he was already doing, and then slaps her in that area, and then twists another sensitive body part, and then storms out. That is a thing that he would do. Or a male member beat a female member, and their whole thing was women are responsible for men. So because women would put out emotional calls like animals in estrus, like a dog in heat, and that men responded to that. So if a man hit you and you told Testerman, hey, Bob hit me in the other room, he'd be like, okay, well, what did you do? What call did you put out to him to make him hit you? Yeah. And that is where Nicole Daedone learned how to run a cult. Yeah,
that's what we call abuse, victim blaming, and probably lots of other horrible things.
And they lured people in with like $11 introductory sessions where it was like, oh, just come in and we'll teach you like communication games for like $11, and it just seems super fun. And you know what we really do that's fun? We do this like other thing, and then it's secret. And do you want to come to that? And it's only $200. And that, I mean, it's just like frog in a pot, penny by penny.
Yeah, $11 most people can come up with. And then, like most cults, once you step foot through that door and they've got their claws on you, it's very hard to get out.
Especially if you're in a ranch in the woods.
In 2002, Daedone traveled to Hawaii to meet Victor Barranco in person, who, like her father, was dying of cancer. According to later reporting, she asked him to name her his successor. Barranco reportedly agreed. The arrangement did not last. Within weeks, the plan dissolved, though no details have been reported. Daedone returned to California without title or authority, but with a conviction that the practice of deliberate orgasm could be separated from its origins and scaled.
Which is crazy. She just flew out to see him for $3,000. You could spend two-hour sessions with this guy in Hawaii if you flew out to Hawaii. And she did. In the first one, she was telling him like, oh, I want to reach another plane. I want to do this. And he would do a thing that later on Nicole took this practice and applied it to herself, where you would tell him, I want to reach another plane of my soul. And he would say, that's not the end of your desire. What else do you want? And you would say, well, but I also want to do blah, blah, blah. That's not the end of your desire. What else do you want? And if you said what he wanted you to say, then he'd go, there it is. Now you found it. And that's what it was with this. She's like saying all these things. And then finally she's like, well, I want to be in charge like you. Like, I want to take over from you. And he's like, there it is. And he's kind of like loopy and is like, yep, she's the next in charge. And I think all of his, sergeants around him were like, no, she's not. Who's this bitch? She just flew in no, she is not in charge.
We've been here for a lot longer. If anybody's in charge, it's going to be me.
I've been mixing your rum and coffee and Sweet and Low for the last 5 years. Like, I don't know who this lady is, but I'm going to throw her in the ocean. Like, no. Sinisterhood will be right back. Now that the holidays are over, you might be feeling like you've got a big spending hangover. The drinks, the holiday food, the gifts, it all adds up. But luckily, Mint Mobile is here to help you cut back on overspending on wireless this January with 50% off unlimited premium wireless.
Mint Mobile's end-of-year sale is still going on, but only until the end of the month. Cut out big wireless bloated plans and unnecessary monthly charges with 50% off 3, 6, or 12 months of unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. You can bring your current phone and number over to Mint. No contracts and no nonsense.
I was at a dinner the other night and a couple of friends of mine were like, we used to have this big wireless carrier and our bills were so expensive. And has any of you guys heard of Mint Mobile? And I was like, have I heard of Mint Mobile? I was like, let me tell you about some quality wireless service.
Nice.
And they were like, we've really been excited. They said they had family in rural areas and they were kind of worried about going to rural areas, but they were been so pleased with their coverage, with their speed. And I was like, that's Mint Mobile, baby. That's why we switched the Sinisterhood official phone number to Mint Mobile because there's nothing like saving money, especially after the holidays when you spend all the monies.
This January, quit overspending on wireless with 50% off unlimited premium wireless. Plans start at $15 a month at mintmobile.com/sinisterhood. That's mintmobile.com/sinisterhood.
Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Plan required. $15 a month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 35 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. Sinisterhood will be right back.
Two of Dadone's fellow followers that welcomed Consensus were Rob Candell and his wife, Carol. Dadone recruited the couple to leave Welcomed Consensus with her. They started a donations charity to give their new group some legitimacy. Dadone reached out to Dawn Marys, a San Diego-based musician she had known since she was a teen. She and the Candells moved in with Dawn, where they planned future courses to sell. Dawn told Netflix that Dadone and the Candells had been doing LSD one day when Dadone proposed to him. He knew of her activities, saying,
"Having your wife be a sex cult leader, it was pretty interesting for me."
However, the marriage was short-lived. Dawn could not emotionally handle Nicole's need to be stroked regularly by multiple other men.
And he kind of got lured into it. He just knew her when she was 18. He was a local musician, pretty shy, lived in San Diego. And when Nicole and Rob and Carol are like leaving Welcomed Consensus and all that, she just calls him up and is like, "Hey, can we stay with you?" And he's just a handyman guy, like chilling, and was like, "Yeah, I guess." And then she starts flirting with him because, again, I think she thinks, oh, this is a place for us to live. And if I just marry him and fuck him, he was a quiet nerd, like kind of more shy, and kind of thought like they were really in love and that her courses were like psychology courses. And she was like, "We're going to do like rewrite your life story. Like theater of the mind is going to be what it's called. And we're going to be like empower people to like take back their own narratives." And he was like, "Great." And she was like, "Let's get married. I think we should get married." And they get married. And then she's like, "I do this thing called deliberate orgasm. So you've actually married me and 15 other people that are in this group with me." And he's like, "Haha." And she's like, "We're all married now."
Mm-hmm.
And so I think this poor guy just was, I hate to use the term schmuck, but
he was taken for a ride.
Or cuck. I mean, and he actually said that. He got really mad one time and threatened her with a knife because she was just getting like being flicked by like a million other guys. And it was just he was just like, I did not know this going in.
Yeah.
And I think on Netflix, you can tell he's trying to be kind of like chill about it, but I imagine it was probably really hard and terrible.
That's a mind fuck and it escalated so quickly too, that you can't even really grasp everything that's going on. You're just kind of trying to like keep your head above water the entire time.
And it's just another case of her using her sexuality to manipulate and literally get money out of people.
Yeah. Soon after Carol threatened Dadone's authority, she was ousted. Candell stayed with the group, so he and Carol divorced. Using approximately $350,000 that Candell had from the recent sale of his house, Candell and Dadone launched One Taste in 2004. In its earliest period, One Taste workshops were deliberately held as small, low-profile events in borrowed yoga studios, rented lofts, and private living rooms in San Francisco. They sold frozen yogurt with sexually suggestive names and offered naked yoga classes, both of which drew media attention and plenty of new recruits.
This title came from a book, and it's supposedly from a Buddhist expression that is, just as the great ocean has one taste, the taste of salt, so also this teaching and discipline has one taste, the taste of liberation. I think she liked it because it was filthy sounded.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a double entendre perhaps, but I have always believed it was also because it was filthy sounding.
Yes. And also people that joined were like, it's also true that once people have one taste, like when people would receive the OM, that they would be like, I don't want this feeling to end. Like I'm obsessed with it. And like, it takes one taste to get them addicted. And
like a drug.
I think so. I think you're in a state of released oxytocin and you're probably more easy to manipulate or, direct your wallet to be opened and emptied for these people. But yeah, just the naked yoga classes, apparently it didn't go well because many voyeuristic non-yogis showed up and were like, what are we here to see? So they had to close that practice.
You're telling me not everybody wanted to be behind someone naked doing downward facing dog, just staring right at that brown star?
Like a pair of truck nuts hanging right in your eye, dude. God, nasty.
Oh, and it's hot yoga, and it's just
Some
so
parts.
sweaty and sticky and stinky. I hate
Yeah.
it.
Nasty. I think that's what we're really failing to explore here, and that's the smell of all this stuff.
Yeah, and like
The stench, I
the
would say.
stench and I don't want to use this word, but fluids is the only way I can describe it.
People slipping on the ground
Because you're
Lube.
sweating, there's lube, people are coming. It's like just what is and like it all
like
kind of
noises
looks the
off.
same. Yeah. Noises off. Everybody's running around backstage trying to keep this together.
Whoa. Whoa.
Oh, but you got to be quiet. You got to be quiet during the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole time. You can't make eye contact. Only the guy I think is supposed to talk and describe. But yeah, I think imagine you just rent them a yoga studio and you come back and you're like, what the fuck?
What happened here?
These floors are destroyed.
Yeah,
this wood is warped.
You gotta rip out all the flooring. In fact, I think it's a tear down at that point.
Oh, 100%.
You gotta
100%.
burn it down.
Also, shout out to Rob Candell, who did mushrooms at Burning Man one time and ruined his whole life.
That is not
So
a
fucking
story
sad.
that I have, but I feel like that could be part of my lore in another timeline.
Loki's so sad to be like, he took mushrooms at Burning Man, got into all this stuff, and the next thing you know, your normal wife has now been ousted by this bitch cult leader.
God damn, dude.
But they say basically like Carol was like, hey, I think she's kind of coming in between our relationship and our marriage. And Nicole was like, you either focus completely on me and the company or you're out. And he
Yeah.
was like, sorry, Carol, you gotta go.
Yeah. Oh, shocking. He chose all the people he got to have sex with instead of having
Yeah.
a monogamous relationship.
So you want your one nice wife or unlimited pussy for just $11 every Wednesday.
Oh, come on down.
So like Cece's
Tuesday is flick all the beans you can for $5. $5.
Really was so
$5 clit flicks.
She did say for real though that they would charge women less than men. They did ladies' night
Yeah,
pricing.
you got ladies. It's
You got to.
ladies' night.
Otherwise,
And
you just
I'm
have a bunch of like
feeling right.
you have a bunch of guys showed up in trench coats and they're all
Yeah.
like, I heard there was an event tonight. And I'm like, I'm not paying $60 to get fingered by that guy.
Hell no.
I'm not even gonna get fingered by him for free.
First of all, I can get figured for free. So
anytime I want, by the way.
I don't need to pay $60 for this.
The other thing about Nicole Daedone and the whole One Taste is they hated on sex toys, which like, okay, who's the prude now?
Why?
They said because it was like
A natural or
like,
something?
It was a second-rate experience.
Guess what? I bet's a lot cleaner. Somebody's dildo, silicone dildo versus your gross ass grubby fingers.
Yeah, no, she's a hater. She didn't invest in it, so that's probably why she didn't like it.
Bronco's deliberate orgasm became orgasmic meditation at One Taste. The term was meant to appeal to urban professionals already interested in wellness trends. Along with the new name, Daedone also introduced a standardized 15-minute time limit measured with a timer, the use of gloves and a mat, and a prescribed sequence of touch. She called it oming and proclaimed she wanted it to be practiced as regularly as yoga in wellness routines.
If you're interested, you can go to her TED Talk on YouTube. It's linked in the show notes. She tells you how to do it. It's surprisingly simple.
15-minute time limit, though. And I don't do well.
It's like 15-minute abs.
Yeah, a minute to win.
Yeah.
I don't do well with things that are timed. It stresses me out a lot. Like, that's why I can't play video games. Because if there's a time, like, you got to fucking get to the end or you're going to die. So if I had 15 minutes to come, I would be.
You're not supposed to, by the way. You can't come.
Oh. Okay.
No coming.
I could
Don't
probably
you
do that
fucking-
easier than the opposite.
You can edge for 15 minutes.
I mean, yeah, because you can just
Yes.
think of stuff that you don't want to think about.
Like baseball, cold
Baseball.
showers. What did she say? Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold day. But I think the idea was that climax, the dunzo, the fireworks is a second rate experience. She said so they are charging you like $15,000 to edge.
Nah.
Teens are doing it for free on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like is that the kids are all joking about edging? Like that's like the phrase that they all use. I say the kids. By that I mean Gen Zs who are like in their 30s now. I'm elderly. But like, isn't that like the phrase is like everyone jokes about edging and stuff? And I'm like, this lady made millions of dollars off of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, the term edgelord has been around as long as World of Warcraft, I imagine. Like that. Like, so she did not invent it.
No, hearing me talk about the youth culture is like Sophia from the Golden Girls. Picture this. But seriously, yeah, I feel like she wasn't even doing it right. She was like, nobody even finishing. No one's having sex, no one's finishing, and you still pay $60,000.
No, it's a grift that I always shocked when people get so many people to sign up for stuff like this.
Easily.
Participants at OM demonstrations typically sat on the floor while Daedone explained to them demonstrated orgasmic meditation. She frequently wove in references to esoteric beliefs and Eastern religions to lend credence to her lectures. The earliest workshops created a small pool of repeat attendees who returned weekly and began volunteering to help with setup, cleanup, and logistics.
Nah. You had to have a really good time if you're like, yeah, I'll grab the mop. You're like, so what do you do? I've been volunteering with an organization. What's your volunteer? Are you like passing out sweaters or soup kitchen? I'm a jizz mopper actually at a yoga studio. You're a what now? Jizz mopper?
Jizz mopper? Some call it a cum cleaner. We all have our own word for it.
Come on now. But I will say, she said they didn't say the word vagina. We're jokingly saying like jizz mopper and stuff, but they used, I'm sorry, but they used the word pussy and cock. And that was and she says it in her book, children. And it's yikes. But she says that they are, quote, the words are more chargy. That means they're charged with more energy, which again, I think is her wanting to push people to their boundaries and like challenge them essentially to be like, tell me this is too much.
Yeah.
Tell me I shouldn't say cock.
That's an interesting way though to phrase it, because I don't disagree that those words are charged with more energy. I mean, they're charged with more sensationalism and they evoke a different response than like vagina and penis would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like cock's got a nice round sound in the middle. Cock, you know, it's fun to say. But
you sound like you're from Boston.
Cock. But like, I just feel like it's like pee, and pussy's like a pussy. It's like the way they come out, pussy, and a cock. But it's like I think they want it again to like show like we're not afraid of it, because one of the trainer people between Testerman and her starting her own thing was a man who also had studied at Morehouse who said, you're a woman, women will buy this from you in a way that they wouldn't buy it from men.
That is
so
true.
You have to set yourself up, and you have to have the demonstrators of this oming be like good looking couples in their like early 30s, late 20s, to where they are like aspirational for the people you're trying to sell to, and always end every one of your workshop, demonstration, whatever, is always end on a demonstration where a woman is getting flicked, because the people in the audience, women will want to aspirationally be the flicky, and the men or others that might do the flicking, because it's very heteronormative, but they also had some female strokers that they theoretically would want to be in the position of being able to get somebody to do those things. So it was all they were all the same as Victor Barranco, marks and hustlers. They were just hustling marks still, but using these Silicon Valley terms of like, this is a wellness feeling of open sensuality and charged language. I'm like, you're one rum and coffee away.
It's all marketing too. And they get it. Like, why else would you be like, they got to be good looking, young. Yeah. I mean, that's any commercial that you see that people are trying to get you to buy their product. It's like, yeah, we'll make everybody young and good looking and having a party, and everybody's going to want to drink White Claw.
Yeah, no, and they would want to give it like these names, what like charge like $150 or whatever to go to a 10-hour class, or charge $1,000 for a class called 10 Women Want You to Know. 10 things what women want you to know, how to handle a woman's pussy. Or like, do you want to pay $2,000 a week and you can be an urban monk? Like, what are you talking about?
That's not even a thing. That you made that up.
Though, you know what urban monks do? Fucking suck. Turns out,
you know what?
They go to a warehouse.
Real monks don't do?
Not that.
They don't do that. I think
Not
they take a
that.
vow that says they can't do that, in fact. As attendance grew, some participants started spending extended time with Dayton, attending lectures or watching filmed versions. In one lecture, Dayton described how her orgasmic meditation practice helped her move through her complicity in her father's crimes, saying in a lecture,
You know, my dad was a child molester and he had experiences with young girls and used me as bait. And that exact behavior, of me colluding with somebody who would cause harm, I got that seed out. I got free. I could forgive everybody in the whole experience. I got free of that.
okay, one, if that's true, again, that's not a healthy way to work through all of this. And I don't think that you should be the one to get free of something by turning around and doing a variation of the same thing that was done to you to others. Two, if I'm in this group or this lecture and all of a sudden this lore is dropped on me, huge red flag. I'm like, oh, well, some pieces are falling into place now. I get why she's so obsessed with all of this.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to follow someone who this is kind of her origin story.
And you see how it gets cold from the narrative. Suddenly it's downplayed. The whole, my dad was a child molester. She also made comments like, similar to what RJ Testerman's philosophy was, that a victim is bringing the energy onto themselves. She said the phrase, I got raped and all I got was this victim story. And she said, or I raped somebody and all I got was this victimizer story, and said these things in a way that was extremely flippant, but similar to the chargy words, where I think she was trying to shock people and trying to be this, not quite a Steve Jobs, but a shocking techie, I'm a genius. And you can hear the audience. The footage is on the Netflix documentary when she says that I got raped and all I got was this victim story. People are like, like no one cheered when she said that or laughed. So again, this is how you know it's an inauthentic veneer. She stopped saying that. She took it out of there. All the anti-rape
like,
stuff,
that didn't work.
Yeah,
it's like taking notes after a show. I didn't get the reaction I wanted with that, so we're going to cut that from the story.
Yep. And so it's like, wow, how can I manipulate these people more? Sinisterhood will be right back.
When it's 5:00 and everyone's asking, what's for dinner? ButcherBox saves the day. Instead of staring into the fridge full of mystery ingredients, we've got high quality protein ready to go. It has been a game changer for busy nights, especially with kids who want chicken nuggets and mac and cheese. Well, we're trying to make something a little more elevated. By we, I mean Tommy. Chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, we all love it, but sometimes we want something a little more elevated that you didn't have to spend a ton of time on.
Absolutely. Their selection is also wild. You're not just getting basic cuts. There are over 100 options: grass-fed beef, organic chicken, crate-free pork, wild-caught seafood, and every single thing they offer meets super high standards. There's no antibiotics, no hormones. You can trust that you're feeding your family is actually good for them. And they've got the sockeye salmon is just, man, something, like you said, I'm not making it. Paris is making it. And so everything they send is just high quality.
So good. What we really appreciate is that the quality stays the same, whether we're doing something fancy like steak or just tossing chicken in the air fryer. And the plans are totally customizable. So if you know that you have a hectic week coming up, you just fill out your box with easy, kid-friendly stuff that still feels like you're doing a good job feeding everyone.
And they don't just stop at food. ButcherBox is a certified B Corp, which means they care about the environment, the workers, the animals, all of it. Plus free shipping, recipes, exclusive deals. They really do make it easier to eat better without overthinking it.
I love that the recipes also get sent because it's like a free little gift on top of it. Because I'm not going to remember any of that stuff and I don't want to write it all down. So the fact that it comes nicely printed on a sheet, you can just go right in with your other recipes. Keep what you like. And, give away recipes to others that you might think might like those. As an exclusive offer, new listeners can get their choice between filet mignon, New York strip, or chicken breast in every box for a year, plus $20 off when you go to butcherbox.com/creepy.
That's right. Your choice of filet mignon, New York strip, or chicken breast in every box for a year, plus $20 off your first box and free shipping always. That's butcherbox.com/creepy. Don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you. Sinisterhood will be right back.
To reduce costs of living, early staff and committed participants began sharing rented houses in San Francisco. One spot, called the Warehouse, was an exposed brick industrial space near the group's favored yoga studios. It doubled as living quarters and an operational center. Group members planned workshops side by side on sofas, shared beds in large open rooms, and conducted orgasmic meditation sessions to start and end the workday. Over time, living together became normalized and then encouraged, although never technically required.
They were oming at 7 a.m. Everybody goes in and lays around in a circle, splayed open, and gets their finging on. And then again at 2, and then again at 6:45.
Like
and
a Dr. Pepper?
Yeah, dude. I'd rather
10, 2, and 4. Isn't that what it is?
That's how you get me to the sessions. There will be Dr. Pepper. I'm like, all right, I'll go.
Okay.
But seriously, I was like, nobody is getting any work done. Everybody's laid on their back with their legs open.
Yeah.
Like, what are you
that's their
doing?
work. They're like, this is the work.
They said it was research. It was their research that they were doing. But if someone, say, for instance, didn't want to sell their very nice San Francisco apartment and move into this warehouse with like 30 other people, Nicole would say, you actually can't move in with us. You're actually, I can hear right now that you're not dedicated because you're not going to just sell an apartment. Okay, it's an apartment. I'm like, if you had me sell San Francisco real estate in 2004 to live in your commune, and now I'd kill you. I'd go and find you and I'd fucking kill you. I'd be like, you stole millions from me. But truly, she would convince, she convinced a lady to sell her house to come. And that's how she did it, is that she told the woman, well, you actually can't move in. And the woman's like, well, okay, well, no, actually I do. I'm sorry. I was just being scared or whatever. And then
that's just manipulation techniques.
Michael Scott, baby, reverse psychology.
I was going to say, yeah, it's like, oh, well, you can't have it anyway. Well, then the person wants it. But she is so manipulative. And that, in addition to like her story of abuse and everything, if I was in the audience, I would think, this person needs help. They have not healed. They are still in a trauma bubble. And this is kind of what they've morphed it into. This isn't something I want to get mixed up in, though.
No, truly. And especially when you start hearing her say things like, oh, sensuality is 80% learning how to navigate your resistance and 20% technique. So you need to, anytime, because then if you're starting to say, why I'm interested in the classes, but I don't want to move in. It's like, well, you're not navigating your resistance. So it's framing personal boundaries as a character flaw.
Yeah. And also, like with any job, office, whatever, if you're not there in the inner circle and staying after hours or whatever, deals get made without you. You don't get to be a part of all the decisions and the cool kids table. So you're kind of shamed and into having FOMO that, you know, well, you're never going to like really be one of us if you don't live like one of us.
100%. Victor Barranco physically wrote in and out lists. I think Nicole Daedone acted out in and out lists.
According to multiple former members, by the mid-2000s, the communal houses had become an informal, quote, lab for one taste. Oming shaped schedules, relationships, and authority. Participants were assigned so-called research partners. These assignments involved scheduled oming sessions together, sustained physical closeness, ongoing expectations of availability, and shared beds.
And she would switch people up, and you might be a research partner with somebody for a year, or it might be 3 weeks or whatever. And I think it's much like Synanon, where they just say, well, you're now with Betty. You don't get to be with Bill anymore. You got to move with this person. And it's a way to knock people off their feet and keep people from colluding against you. If they start really connecting, you don't want a Rob and Carol situation where you're going to have to like force someone to get a divorce. And I think too, a lot of the men were just fixated and loved Nicole. Living with her, they would just go and sit on her bed in the morning and just like wait for her to say stuff to them like a guru.
Oh.
Meanwhile, the rest of the time they're like calling, texting, trying to get sales, sell. And if you sold a bunch, she probably liked it and did stuff with you, you know?
I bet so. Research partners were expected to lie together on mats, to touch and be touched in prescribed ways, and to remain present through discomfort, distraction, or resistance. For some men who had success at work but not in romance, receiving instruction on how to interact with women changed their lives. Likewise, for some participants who struggled with sexual dysfunction, oming became a way to re-engage their own desire.
I think that's a sad thing too, because I think it's completely understandable why a ton of these people joined up, because they had a hole in their life, no pun intended, that needed filling, and this filled it for them. And especially in Silicon Valley was a ton of these disaffected 20-somethings with more money than they got sense, as my mother would say, and were desperate for something to fix them. And if you go to a, fun, free communication workshop and they're like, this can actually fix everything, then maybe you don't want to work 90 hours a week for Steve Jobs. You're down to work 90 hours a week because at least there you're getting fingered 3 times a day at one taste. Apple's got free apples. Okay.
Do they really?
No, I think, yeah. They have like a nice cafeteria. They got like,
so they have more than just apples.
Yeah, they do. They have free food.
I was imagining every floor just has a huge bowl of apples.
A basket of they're
stocked
like,
all the time.
Fuji, Red Delicious, Green,
Honey Crisp.
Green, Granny Smith. Yeah.
You got to get up early to get those Honey Crisp, though.
They're gone.
But much like Bonnie Blue, who also uses I'm helping these young men because I'm teaching them, how to pleasure a woman and put on a condom and all the things to do if you're not experienced. So I'm not going to judge you and you can do whatever. And okay, there's some reasoning to that. I still don't like the way they go about it. And I think that she's a predator and that this lady's just a fucking scam artist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Easily.
When conflict emerged between members, there was an adage at One Taste, according to a former member named Ruwan.
When the sensation is high, you can either fuck or fight.
Participants were encouraged to resolve interpersonal and professional tension by engaging in a, quote, makeout, the group's term for sexual contact. Workers would be told,
go have sex and don't come back into work until you've done it.
Verbal refusal was interpreted by some senior members as fear or avoidance rather than a boundary.
And yeah, he was like, man, I had to go have sex with this girl. It was so awkward. And just went in the other room and just did it. And then she went back to work. And I'm like, think of the worst person you work with and you're fighting with them at work. And then you go to your boss and they're like, he won't fucking stop. And they're like, there's one way to fix this.
Yeah.
That's so manipulative and shitty, especially if you are $5, $10, $15, $20, $50,000 in debt to these people and that you desperately need to keep working there. Suddenly just go. That's a bounded choice that Janja Lalich talks about, where you think you're choosing to go have sex with your coworker, but in fact, you're choosing to go have sex with your coworker because it's impossible to leave.
It's akin to trafficking.
Yeah. I mean, truly.
And
sex trafficking. Yeah.
The, forcing people to work through discomfort or anything like that is saying your gut instinct, your boundaries mean nothing anymore. And even if this feels totally wrong and you know you shouldn't be doing it, you still got to do it. And that fucks people up real bad.
And it makes them question their own judgment.
During this period, Silicon Valley was on the rise. Tech startups dominated the town, and their young employees had disposable incomes and a willingness to pay top dollar to wellness companies to offset long working hours. One Taste framed orgasmic meditation as the hottest new self-improvement technology. As the number of participants increased, pricing tiers emerged. One Taste began offering weekend courses, which later became multi-day retreats. Former members recalled that costs were often introduced conversationally rather than through formal contracts. In one egregious incident, a participant was tripping on LSD when Dayton convinced him to contribute $250,000 more to the company.
Yeah, and they would come at you after you're finished with your oming session, your oming test, so you're all swimmy and everything from getting flicked or whatnot. And then it's like, it's just, don't you want this feeling to end? It's just $16,000 to do this other thing. So can we just go ahead and count on you to do that? And you're like, yeah. And then meanwhile you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I agreed to pay these people 16 grand.
All of it is abusive and manipulative and calculated. I hate all of it.
And they were told, the volunteer workers were told, hey, go stand in the back of the session and just like listen to people's conversations and see what information you can give us. And then they would go back in the back and go, okay, Nicole, well, the guy in the blue shirt says that he hasn't had a boner in 15 years. And the woman in the red shirt's his wife. And she said that she desperately wants to reconnect with him. So it's all about connection. So then when they go up to do the sale, A, they know what to say in front of everyone. And B, when the one taste person who you think is your friend or is like a little friendly person, just a member, they're a fucking salesperson.
Yeah. And they've been listening into your conversations to use that against you. And you think, oh, this person really gets it. They know what I'm going through. I can't wait for our marriage to be repaired and to feel connected again. And that's sad to think of people that really are in a place like that and are giving up huge sums of money. I mean, like
time, their careers.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and then in many cases, each other, because it came down to like, you can either choose your wife who doesn't give you a boner and hasn't in 15 years, or you can come with us. And then your whole marriage just collapses.
Your life is different. You've sold your house and you've joined a sex cult. But and truly, I think it's sad because a lot of the guys that joined had said, I didn't know how to interact with women. I didn't know how to talk to them. And I felt finally in this group, I was able to like be completely honest and so it sucks because again, there's 2 or 3 threads of legitimacy that are helpful, but overall it comes at a cost of a $36,000 a person retreat called the Nicole Daedone Intensive. I mean, truly, some people were out the cost of a house.
I think that's why it's so effective too, though, is because there are bits of truth and helpfulness sprinkled throughout. So, like with anything, you're like, well, I mean, they had a point with XYZ. Yeah, there's these other things that I don't love, but some of it's right. And they do that. It's intentional. So you're like, you can't say all of this is bullshit because it isn't. Some of it does ring true with you, but you're being taken for a ride regardless.
And it's not the ride you think you're being taken on. And they also use science terms. They'd say, oh, you're in your cortex. It's your limbic system. It's this. Or they would say, she would just throw out in the Netflix documentary, they do a supercut of just all the names she drops where she's like, Buddha said that, in Hinduism, in esotericism, in this, in Judaism, it's called this. And it's just like she had this encyclopedic memory. And much like Keith Raniere, you think she's some genius. And the people would quote her and go, Nicole said that authenticity is whatever, a quote that you're like, she stole that from someone.
Yeah.
She was just good at memorizing.
Dedicated participants were invited to additional sessions, then to small group intensives that promised deeper instruction, more feedback, and increased access to senior members. Some men who were particularly adept at the practice of oming were designated as, quote, master strokers. The group began creating instructional videos and posting them online, gaining millions of views with titles like
Project Goldfinger, How a Man Gained Stroking Mastery. Meanwhile, someone clicks on it and it's like, that's not the kind of stroking I was thinking.
This isn't James Bond. Wait a minute.
They did briefly have man stroking, like where men could ohm. And then they were like, no, it just turned into hand jobs. We had to stop that. They had to stop it.
Oh, man. Eventually, these offerings expanded into what One Taste described as, quote, training programs. Participants were encouraged to enroll in longer sequences that combined instruction, practice, and service to the organization. Fees rose accordingly, sometimes to the tens of thousands of dollars. Some former staff later told reporters those who hesitated over cost were reassured that the investment would pay off, potentially through professional opportunity within the community.
MLM, baby.
Higher cost programs came with increased access to Daedone, and soon upper management was needed to organize the many new participants. In 2007, Rachel Cherwitz entered the organization. Cherwitz, a former Orthodox Jew, arrived from Texas, initially as a participant seeking help with intimacy after being diagnosed as anorgasmic. In short order, her role rapidly expanded. According to later testimony and reporting in The New Yorker, Cherwitz became Nicole Daedone's closest operational partner. One former employee described the two as
A pair in a unit.
Cherwich took charge of sales and day-to-day enforcement of the organization's norms. Former staff members later described her management style as
extremely tough and intimidating,
recalling being yelled at, publicly reprimanded, and pressured to meet expectations that were often conveyed informally rather than through written policy. Decisions were rarely documented. Authority flowed through proximity to Dayton, and Cherwitz functioned as the primary conduit. Staff later described an atmosphere in which Cherwitz's approval or disapproval carried immediate practical consequences, including housing arrangements and work assignments.
And that's the thing is you can say no to her, but you suffer the wrath either being screamed at in front of everybody, told to go bang your coworker that you didn't want to go bang. And if you do say no to that, then it's like, well, I guess I know you like living on the upper floor with all of us, but we're going to have to move you to the basement.
Yeah.
Sorry. And it's like, you're adults. What are you doing?
And again, it's like,
not to the victims. I'm talking about this bitch, Cherwitz.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing screaming at people?
It's again, like you can say no, but can you really? You know what I mean? Like you can't because you're going to be abused and ridiculed and publicly shamed. I think Nicole found another woman who was willing to just go all in on this, and they became just like partners in crime.
Gasoline and fire. You know what I mean? Like, are you willing to go all the way? And it's somebody that's so desperate as Rachel Cherwitz was that she had moved to Israel and become an Orthodox Jew and that she didn't find fulfillment there. And she moved, back to Texas. She grappled with anorexia previously, grappled with alcoholism. So somebody who I think has seen rock bottom, if not hit it. And you again are told by a beautiful, dynamic, wealthy woman, hey, this is going to solve everything. All you have to do is do this harder than anything you've ever done in your life. And she's like, I'll do it. I'll do it. And there's ask Allison Mack, there's a cost to being a lieutenant.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very Twin Flames-esque too. Like the more you participate in this, the better you become. And if you want to be up at the top, then you've got to sacrifice everything. This has to become your life now.
Sinisterhood will be right back. Well, it's 2026, and if one more legislative body tries to tell me what I can and can't ingest, I'm going to lose my freaking mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we all can stand to benefit from IndaCloud these days.
Seriously. It's like, I love you, IndaCloud. Please. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're holding on.
IndaCloud's going to bring me to tears. This year? And we're only like 2 weeks in, by the way. It's 2026.
We have one good thing in our life, and they're trying to steal it from us.
And we're not gonna let them. IndaCloud is your fully legal online cannabis dispensary. That's gummies, exotic flower, premium pre-rolls, and now zero sugar THC sodas, which basically taste like someone finally invented a beverage that understands you. All hemp THC, DEA certified, lab tested, shipped discreetly, which is great because I don't want my neighbors in my business or my children.
Whether you're looking to float or fully launch off, my friends, this brand has you covered with THC levels tailored to fit your vibe. With multiple effects to choose from, you're always in control. There's no sketchy packaging, no surprise highs, just clean, vegan, lab-tested products that actually taste good. Join over 50,000 happy customers and discover your new favorite way to unwind. I love IndaCloud gummies. I love their pre-rolls as well. They also have these kind of candy ropes, but their gummies in particular, they had a soda shop line and it had like cherry cola and man, those were really good. And the flavor's good. And then it says on the package, sort of, this one's more euphoria. This one's more like chill. And so sometimes on the chill ones, I might go walk around a museum or something. Yeah. And the euphoria ones, I might go for a run or something.
Or
so I love
to an escape room. I'm pretty sure.
Which we maybe took one.
Those were the ones that accompanied us on what we almost made out of. We were literally one question away and seconds from killing Dracula. And honestly, I don't think we would have got that far had it not been for IndaCloud. So thank you.
IndaCloud's what got us just one clue away. Without IndaCloud, we would still be in that escape room.
If you're 21 or older, visit indacloud.co and use code CREEPY for 25% off plus free shipping on orders of $89 or more. That's indacloud.co, code CREEPY. 25% off, free shipping on orders $89 plus, and absolutely zero hangover regrets.
Enjoy responsibly, and shout out to IndaCloud for making dry January actually bearable. Sinisterhood will be right back.
After Cherwich joined, she and Dadone focused in on the organization's goals: expansion, market saturation, and the mainstream acceptance of oming as a practice. To get there, the pair were willing to do anything, including, some allege, exploiting trauma victims and using sex to lure emotionally vulnerable targets to open their wallets and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. Employees were pressured to work for free or cheap as an expression of devotion, making the overhead low. One Taste was on its way to becoming a well-oiled machine that many of the former staffers and community members say resembled a kind of prostitution ring. They created just the type of environment ripe for a bombshell news expose or even a federal criminal investigation. So what do we think?
Well, I feel bad for people that did get swept up in this, because the solutions that she was offering, while spurious, were directed at serious problems that I think people deserve answers for. Then maybe the answers come from actual spiritual guidance, doctors perhaps, or therapists, sex therapists or whatever. Someone with a credentialed background who wasn't just grabbing a Kleenex full of meth and climbing upon the laps of some gentlemen and saying these marks are so easy. I'm not saying that you cannot go from being a sex worker to being an entrepreneur. I think anybody can be anything. And what you should be is an entrepreneur and not a cult leader, which is what happened here. Because I think she's a person who liked the attention. I think she liked the sexual attention, certainly, because it's not that she said, this is a clinical, clean thing we're going to be doing. It would be like, we need some more investors. So let's do a public oming demonstration where I am the one who will be stroked in front of everyone. And then she's wearing this like sexy robe, and then it like drops off, and you're supposed to be wearing a shirt, I thought, for this, or I've been doing it wrong. But she's full of like, she's tits out, splayed out, and shit's happening and whatnot. And then there's like a woman next to her. And so I think you get, while perhaps I don't even think her initial inspiration was ever benevolent, but it definitely got to a point where it's like, how much further can we take it? And definitely the Silicon Valley-ness of it. We will get into it in part 2, how it became famous, that I think she got real addicted to it when it was famous. But even before that, this is sounds like a sex addict who made it all of our problems, that did not properly metabolized her trauma and instead turned it outward and made way more victims.
Yeah. Again, it's hard to know her childhood, what's real and not, but I would not be surprised one bit if the abuse did happen, because that would, to me, explain how she got to where she is, using sex as manipulation. Making things seem as problematic as they really are, using different language to soften it. I mean, it's all something that a sexual predator would do to a child to get them to comply. And she's just doing the same thing, but to adults. So it makes me very cautious about anyone that like, this is their anyone that this is their business. I think it's smart to identify, like, how did this interest begin? And if it comes from a dark and sinister place, then you shouldn't be getting involved in it, because she needs help. She doesn't need to get more money. And she's clearly knows what she's doing. She's targeting people, using their vulnerabilities against them to get more money. So I don't think it was ever benevolent either. In fact, I think she realized, I can make a ton more by doing XYZ, and just continued to exploit it.
No, for sure. And I think a huge clue is that she was coached by Ray Vetterling, I think was his name, who was, again, one of those Morehouse cast-offs, guys that like Testerman left and were like, I'm just going to copy and paste this and call it something different. And he told her, all those things like we talked about earlier. You can really sell this. Package it in a soft way that's less aggressive, package it in a way that's wellness, attach it to these, you're a white lady, but go ahead and attach it to these Eastern religions, appropriate this Eastern culture for your own sexual gains and financial gains, quite frankly. And I think perhaps these accusations, absent the fact that, spoiler alert, she's going to get investigated by the feds. We just told you that, but I think our accusations are not completely unfounded when you look at this person's complete background and history to the extent it can be traced. Dawn Marys, her short-lived one-time husband, said that when he was, early days and say it in the music scene and someone said, oh, Nicole Daedone, that's Nicole Daedone. Her reputation preceded her. One of the sound guys was like, Nicole Daedone, she's a monster, man. Stay away from her. And she was like 18 at the time. And so it's not that she's had this long career where she was like a legitimate psychotherapist and, these, or even just had her long life. It's that she's been kind of a grifter forever, that she's always used the pussy, her words, not mine, to lure people in and get from them what they want, whether it is their attention, their affection, or money, dollars. And it's silly for her to have try to tell us like, your eyes deceive you. I am a guru. And it's like, you're a scammer. And we know that. I feel bad for the people that wandered in. Like literally some of the early participants wandered in because the warehouse looked from the street kind of like a cafe. You could just go take a yoga class there. You could go get massages there. You could go and get coffee there. And so people would go in thinking, oh, it says on the outside, urban retreat center, like care for your body here, and really did go in thinking that they were going to care for their bodies, and unfortunately walked into the jaws of a predator that they could not have known. But her integrity was shot before she even got Rob Candell to sell his house and leave his wife. Her integrity was chipped away at all of these little shitty things that she did to all these people along the way, including all of her cult involvement before that. So I do, at the end of the day, the saddest part of this is just all the people that got taken advantage of because they were deserving of love and sex, and we're all deserving of loving our body and feeling at home in our body and feeling pleasure in whatever way that like means to us. But to have another person be like, no, what you're doing, like, no, what you do is wrong and what I do is the right way. And also you have to do it this exact way. And you have to pay me thousands of dollars to do this exact thing is like the shittiest thing ever, because it's a desperate, like people always, air is the most important thing, water, money, sex, these are all like the top 10s of like things we need to survive as a species. So it's sad when somebody takes one of those.
And everybody's different. So what is pleasurable to one person might not be to the next. So to frame it in like, this works for everybody, this is a one size fits all. It's not. And I think it's sad that I do believe she was a victim herself throughout her childhood. And at some point, like we talked about with Allison Mack, you go from being a victim to being complicit and an abuser yourself. I think she was real abused as a kid that led her down this dark sexual path where she knows how to manipulate and what sells and how to get people how to bring people in and everything. And if she really was doing that for her dad, like she claimed and then later said not to, she was the bait to bring other people in. She's still doing that, just with adults now.
And she's the predator.
Yeah.
And she sent her own little, people out as bait to go and stand in the back of workshops and seem friendly and seem like they're minions. So we've got a lot more in part 2 on this woman who is so insidious, because I think, and we'll really hammer it home next time, the external veneer was so convincing. And she was real good at it. And you can fool a lot of people for a while, but it takes one journalist being like, I don't know about all this. No, what now? You're saying they did what to you now? And just listening, honestly, sitting down and listening to people's lived experience that you can knock a sex cult down.
Yeah. And it also usually happens once they acquire a ton of money and the feds get word of it. Because sadly, usually when we've seen huge cases, somebody starts to give a shit. It's because there's money involved.
Yeah. Al Capone went to jail for tax evasion. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or like Murdoch. He got, all of that other stuff came out because of his financial crimes. So it's sad that money kind of rules all when it comes to this. And all the 3-letter people will let a lot go until, oh, wait a minute, but money's involved? Yeah. Oh, okay, now we give a shit.
You're like, hey, these people are abusing human beings over here. And the federal government's like, we are too. What do you want us to do about it? And you're like,
send them our way.
I've called the wrong person. Like, oh shit. So yeah, well, we've got a lot more in part 2. And if you, honestly, I encountered a person in my life about 7 or 8 years ago. It would have been in 2018 before you and I started this podcast. And I was told a story and she was like, oh, I went to this workshop in San Francisco and I have what I would call a visceral memory of that. And it was oming. And I don't know for sure, but the description
sounds
fit
like
this description. And it was in San Francisco at the time. So also for Freaky Friday, if any of you, if One Taste did not just have, it expanded beyond San Francisco and had multiple locations. So if you or somebody you know was impacted by One Taste, Nicole Daedone, Rachel Churwitz, whatever, like send it into Freaky Friday. And we'd love to share that because it is understandable that you would have showed up to something like this. And I'm sorry if it turned out the way it did for so many of these folks.
Yeah,
so many of these
definitely.
Folks. And also protect the backs of your knees. Nicole Daedone's still out there. So,
and that's another weird thing that I feel in my dark brain comes from child sexual abuse that she experienced.
No, I think so. I think Ellen Hewitt doesn't say it outright because, she's a journalist that can only report the facts that she has, but she put it in a way that was like, here's some facts and information that you should know. Anyway, moving on. And I'm like, this book is so perfectly written. So also, if you want even more than what we're doing here, it's a great book as well. Where can people find you on the internet?
I'm on Instagram and Threads at Christy M. Wallace and TikTok at Christy or GTFO. Heather?
I'm Omen Live on Heather versus the World.
You're Omen OnlyFans?
OnlyFans.
We also have to take back that word because I do yoga and I like to do
Yeah.
I don't want to be thinking about a stroking situation when I'm trying to meditate.
I'll be stroking. Clarence Carter's like, I will not give you the rights to that song.
Never.
Stop it.
Never. As always, the devil rules the airwaves.
Keep it creepy. I keep stroking.
This episode of Sinisterhood is made possible with the help of our amazing patrons.
If you're interested in supporting the show, consider joining our Patreon. You'll get access to ad-free regular episodes, weekly bonus content, you're able to vote on episode topics, join our monthly live streams, and more.
Keep it creepy.
Are we going to say clitoral or clitoral? What do we want to say here?
Science, whatever science is.
I don't know what science is, honestly.
Clitoral.
Clitoral? Okay.
I'm like so country though, so I say clitoral. It's like a couple of syllables.
Well, I've always said clitoral, but then I would say clit, but then some people say clitoris, but I'd always said clitoris. It's like a dinosaur. Nobody knows how to say it
Clitosaurus
correctly.
rex. Yeah, it's a Clitosaurus rex.
Clitosaurus rex. Oh, so we said it's clitoral?
Clitoral.
Clitoral.
Like literal.
Okay. Now I'm going to start saying clitoral instead of
clitorally. Clitorally.
Oh, man.